Alrighty, I think we are live now. There we go. All right, well, good morning, everyone. It's morning here in sunny SoCal, and quite sunny today. I'm here today to talk about the Organic Magic Balms. Before I launch into all that I have to say about those, I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to jump on. So I always like to hear where people are viewing from. So if you want to share where you are and what's going on in your day, that would be fantastic. Have you heard of the Magic Balms? That would be a good poll. I'll have to do that one of these days because it's one of our lesser known products. So let me know if you know what these are, if you've heard about them. And we're going to get started in just a minute. I'm here filming from my kitchen where I'm right at home, where I spend a lot of my days. I saw a meme recently or a post where somebody had turned on their walking tracking app just for doing housework, and it was amazing how much of her own house she had covered. And I've often wondered that if I tracked my route around the kitchen, if I would step on every square inch of my kitchen floor throughout a day of cooking. There are some days that I don't. I'm a big fan of big batch cooking and then eating leftovers for a couple days, but I like cooking. So anyhow, welcome. All right, well, we are here today to talk about the Organic Magic Balms. So I think I've given a few minutes for people to get started, so I'm going to go ahead and start for those of you who have joined in already. Good morning. I am Lisa Bronner, and I write the blog Going Green with Lisa Bronner, as well as the Facebook and social channels. I am part of the Bronner family that owns and operates Dr. Bronner's Magic Soaps, but I am rarely on site. I focus more on talking to people, talking about how we can dial down our burdens in our lives, both chemical ones, intangible ones. I also like to talk about how to use Dr. Bronner's products because there are more uses than even we put on our label. So I am here today specifically to talk about two of my favorite products that I think don't get enough love. So they are these two right here, the Organic Magic Balms. And this one's difficult to get focused because it's got an iridescent label. What else would you expect from Dr. Bronner's but an iridescent label? So these are our two Organic Magic Balms. They are not new products, but I think they don't get enough press. So I'm here to tell you all about them. So first of all, they come in two scents. One is the unscented. We always have the unscented in the light blue labeling. And then the second one is the Arnica Menthol Organic Magic Balm. These two have the same base ingredients, and we're going to go over the ingredients in just a minute, but pretty different uses. There aren't a whole lot of overlap other than simple moisturizing between these two products. So first of all, just so you know how they come, when you get it, it does have a safety seal on it that we have to take off. So you just peel that off. And then it comes in this 2-ounce metal tin that has the screw-on cap, and this is what it looks like when you open it. And this is the unscented. It really doesn't have a scent to it. I can't smell a thing. The other one, the Arnica Menthol, this one, however, is quite a different story. So it looks pretty similar to the unscented, but you would never mix them up. I guess this one is a little bit darker because of the extra ingredients, but even not even putting this near my nose, like holding it away, it is already filling the air with its powerhouse of ingredients that, well, I'm going to tell you about what they're good for. So a little bit of backstory here. We are a family of fiddlers, of inventors in the sense, not that, my dad was I guess an official inventor, and I say official because he actually had patents. I think that makes somebody official. I don't have patents, but I do love to fiddle, and so do my brothers. And so David, my oldest brother, who's Dr. Bronner's Cosmic Engagement Officer, or CEO, he is a surfer, and he holds regular Wednesday, actually I don't know if he still doesn't, but he used to hold regular Wednesday morning board meetings out in the waves. And you know, as he got older and started to feel a little bit more in the aftermath, little more aches and pains, he came home and put together a balm that was the basis of what became our organic magic balm. And the first balm that he put together was actually with the Arnica Menthol, and he made it specifically as a muscle rub for post surfing aches and pains. Well, nobody told me that backstory. All I knew is that one day an unlabeled, like no completely blank tin except for some Sharpie marking on it, showed up on my desk. And you know, I suppose maybe I should be suspect of random things that show up on my desk, but I wasn't. I opened it up and gave it a good look and smelled it and was utterly blown away by what hit me. It was just a knockout of these mentholated vapors. Well, not having any background of what this was, who it came from, who put it together, I thought, oh, that's like for when you're feeling stuffy or when you're feeling congested. It kind of reminded me of the, you know, petroleum-based Vicks vapor rub. So I thought, okay, I guess somebody's fiddling with that. So it was a couple weeks later that I happened to see my brother, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, was somebody making this product? And he said, oh yeah, my muscle rub. I'm like, oh, is that what that was? So that was the first introduction I had to the Arnica Menthol Magic Balm. But the base of it was then fiddled with, and you know, what scents should we have? We have all of our essential oils that are in our soap. Should we mirror them? And we did a couple versions, but eventually we decided to dial it back and just have the two. And so we ended up with just the unscented and the Arnica Menthol. And I think we got this right. Now, what I love about, let's just talk about the unscented, because it's the base of both, but in the unscented, there's nothing extra. If you flip it over and look at the ingredients on the back, they are, I mean, completely understandable. You can picture each of these ingredients in nature. So the first one is avocado oil. You know, I've got avocados. My neighbor just gave me a bag sitting on my counter. I know what avocado oil is. The second one is jojoba seed oil. Okay, I don't have that one growing in my yard, although it is sourced not far from here in Arizona. But I know what that plant looks like. And then the next one we have is beeswax. And all of these are organic. The next one's coconut oil. Okay, I know what that looks like. I've got some in my pantry right here. I've actually been to our coconut oil supplier in Sri Lanka, Sarendipal. Amazing, amazing place. And then we have olive oil. Okay, know what that is? I do have olives growing. They're supposed to be fruitless olives, but they produce a lot of fruit. I don't know if they fruit less or if they're just the wrong variety and they weren't fruitless. And then we have hemp seed oil. That's in all of our products because of the just tremendous benefit of hemp seed oil for the skin. And then tocopherols as a antioxidant. Tocopherols are vitamin E that we derive from sunflower seed oil. So that's it. That's all that's in here. You could, you know, if you wanted to, you might even be able to concoct this because all of those ingredients are readily accessible. There's nothing gobbledygook. There's nothing, you know, odd or synthetic about them. And so every one of those is really simple. So then what's the bump up with the Arnica Menthol? This one, would you believe that, let's see, it's the fourth ingredient. So after the avocado, the coconut, and the beeswax, the fourth ingredient is the Mentha arvensis leaf oil. So that's what really, you know, gets in there to knock you out with this one. And then we have the olive, but then the sixth ingredient is camphor. And so camphor is a, you know, it's a plant often used in, I mean, I associate the smell of camphor with like bug repellent. I don't know if that was just me or something I grew up with, but camphor is in there, but it also is a very aromatic plant. And then we have Mentha arvensis, menthol crystals. So far we've got 3 additional ingredients in here that's really giving it that power-packed punch. We have the Mentha arvensis leaf oil. Mentha arvensis, I realize, might not be a familiar word. Mentha means plants in the mint family, and the mint family is vast. There are thousands of types of mint. So Mentha arvensis is one of those types of mint. So we have the leaf oil, and then we also have crystals. I mean, and they're not like gritty crystals in here, but they're crystals that bring that aromatic punch to this one. And then to round it out, there's 2 more ingredients, the Arnica montana oil. And Arnica is another plant often used for, often used on the skin for various maladies. People, oh goodness. I always want to be careful when I talk about like what ingredients can do, because you always see like the FDA is not certified, this sort of thing. But Arnica menthol or Arnica montana oil is an ingredient that's used to promote skin health. And then the last one is the Mentha piperita. Again, mentha, you know, it's a mint. Piperita is it's what you think of when you think of peppermint oil. So 5 additional ingredients in the Mentha Arnica menthol balm that really give it this super power-packed aromatic punch. So that's the basis of what's in here, and that's where they both came from. Now they are fully certified organic. All of the ingredients are, and as well as being, you know, cruelty-free and non-GMO and all of that good stuff. We always run into a problem of not being able to fit all of our certifications on a label. So if you want to see all of the certifications, go ahead and go to the product page on the Dr. Bronner's web store, or I put in the chat the link to the article that I wrote about them. If you're more of a reader or you want to review my information, I wrote an article about the balms. And what you will see on my article is this document. Now, if you have at all spent time on my website, you know that I write these cheat sheets because I like things to be all in one spot. So I talk about many of the uses for all of our products, different articles about dishwashing, about body washing, hair washing, with our soaps. I've talked about, you know, uses of the balms even during pregnancy, but I always like to have, you know, everything in one place for those who just like give it to me short and sweet. So I have this usage cheat sheet, and these are all the uses that I have learned or found on my own for the balms. And you can find this cheat sheet. I also have them for the Castile liquid soap, the Castile bar soap, the Salsuds biodegradable cleaner, and the coconut oil. But the link in the chat is will take you to this one for the balms. So what are these uses? Okay, well, a balm. I mean, I think when you think of balm, you think of chapped skin. You think of, you know, irritated skin, maybe, you know, it's cold, it's windy, you're outside for a long time, or you know, whatever, you have a cold. And I remember my kids when they were little, in the wintertime, their cheeks would get so red and chapped. So definitely, but that's where you would want to go for the unscented. As I said, even though the unscented and Arnica menthol have the same base ingredients, they have pretty different uses. So if you have any sort of sensitive or irritated skin, don't use the Arnica menthol. It's a little too strong. You're going to want to go with the unscented. My daughter started using this for with running because she does track and cross country, and my son for the same reason when he was out in the waves at boogie boarding, as an anti-chafing, as a protection on the skin against chafing. Again, you would want to use the unscented for that one. I've used it quite a bit for cuticle softening. If your, you know, cuticles are drying out, or you want to do a treatment on them, it's a great way to soften the cuticles, and then also to nourish the nails, to rub a good bit in. You've maybe heard the term nail slugging, and that's where you really put a good glop of balm right on the nail, you know, get a thick coating on. If you then have gloves, or if you don't, not that fancy, socks, put them on your hands and sleep. Your nails will be fantastic in the morning. Now this one I haven't had the opportunity to try out myself because I don't have a tattoo, but it is a great aid for tattoo healing. My understanding is you need to keep tattoos covered while they heal, and there's been research to suggest that petroleum-based balms actually can cause ink fade. And so if you want to move away from a petroleum-based balm, this one is plant-based and beeswax-based, it wouldn't have that impact. So an aid to helping tattoos heal, but then also it can really brighten old tattoos, partially because it's nourishing the skin, and nourished skin is gonna have better tone and better color, but also the ink itself will become more vibrant just with an application of this. Again, if you go to that link I put in the chat, I link to my tattoo article that talks about, and my neighbor was kind enough to let me use him as a demonstration with his gorgeous tattoos. So so that's another great use for this. And another use I haven't personally had the opportunity to experience is as a beard balm. But I am married to a beard. I have a son with a beard and many colleagues, so that this is a great way to nourish a beard, especially as it's growing in, if it's itchy. But also, you know, the skin underneath the beard can become quite dry. So this is a great way to nourish that skin as well. The unscented is a good option for that. I mean, you'll get the vapors of the Arnica Menthol if you use that. It will nourish your beard. It could cause, like, I don't know, if you need the pick-me-up, use the Arnica Menthol, but I think in general I would use this. And then, but something that I have done is with makeup. You know, there's lots of ingredients in makeup that are problematic, and it can be a pain to sort through which are which. So a couple ways that I use this to help with my makeup is for my lips, I'll use a lip liner, and then I'll just use this to sort of blend it in and give me my color. Also a great way for a brow balm for brow control. Or if you're looking for the dewy look, I've learned all of these terms from my daughter. She's 15 and knows so much more than I do about makeup. But the dewy look that you might want on your cheeks or even on your forehead, this will give you that. You could, if you wanted color, you could add a little bit of a blush to it and make your own color. And this one, you know, you might not think of, but if you are somebody who wears makeup regularly, one area that does get dried out are our eyelashes. If you regularly wear mascara, especially if it's like waterproof mascara, that's tough stuff. And afterwards, our eyelashes might need some treatment. And the ingredients in this are great for that. So if you have an old spoolie, the mascara brush that you can clean or buy just a clean one and just roll it in the unscented balm and put it on like mascara. That's one way to do that, or just, you know, or just rub it on just gently with your fingertip. The spoolie is actually also a great way to style your brows with this. I really like that technique. Here's something, again, I don't do at home, but just what day are we on? Tuesday, Sunday. My daughter decided she wanted some red streaks in her hair, and she does look adorable with them. But to keep the, you know, red from leaching a little bit onto her forehead or her neck, to put a little bit of this along the edges will prevent the stain from hitting the skin as well. Another use for this, see, I've got lots of uses. I think it just says balm on here, and you know, this is a product that just has so many uses. The Organic Magic Balm is as a hairstyling aid. If your hair is you've got some frizzies, you're looking for a sleeker look, I mean, just a light rub of this, I wouldn't get too much, and style them back. If you're looking for like a wet look, you know, go ahead and use a little bit more and really rub it in there. It doesn't have the hardening. It's not gonna like dry. There's no like alcohol or other ingredient that will evaporate and leave a hard look, but it will leave a sleek look if that's the look that you're working to achieve. But even for every day, I don't have a sleek look, but I do, you know, sometimes, especially if I go into humidity, I get so used to the weather here in Southern California, and then I travel to my in-laws in North Carolina, and my hair just goes whoo, This is a great way to keep things a little bit more in check. If I want that, sometimes it's fun to go big. Depends upon my mood. If you are in a situation of skin stretch, let's just say as a category, I have two boys that are pretty much through their growing years, but I remember when it was like, 3 inches in a summer or whatever, and their skin literally is stretching. This is a great way to massage it into if the skin is itching. Also, if you are pregnant and your belly, it's been a while since I've been in that situation, but I still remember how itchy my belly was. This did not exist back then, but I wish it had. I used a lot of coconut oil, but this is even better. It's even richer. So a great way to massage the belly, help the skin to stretch over that growing baby inside. Speaking of babies, this is not a medicated ointment, but it's a great way to keep skin nourished, whether we're talking about the diaper area or, if you've been around a chubby baby, all of my babies were chubby and they had that rubber band look like around their wrists and their elbows, even their necks would have creases, and those creases could get seriously chapped and bright red. So this is a great thing to use on chubby babies to keep their skin healthy and strong. And then one thing I do still have, 5 of them are pets. I have 5 pets. I have 2 dogs and 3 cats, and they're wonderful. I love them all together, but it's a lot. This is a fine thing to use if their pads on their paws are cracked or they have any dry, itchy skin. Again, not medicated, but just if they need a little bit of skin nourishment, skin moisturizing. It's okay if they eat it. I mean, you heard the ingredients. Don't eat it. It's not meant to be eaten, but it's okay if it happens, because coconut oil, avocado oil, I mean, we're talking edibles here. And then the last thing I love about this, all of our unscented products, the soaps, can be customized, and it's no different than with the unscented magic balm. You can customize this and make your own scent. Take your own essential oil and sprinkle a few drops in here, or if you don't want to, scent your whole tub, put it in another dish, and a few drops of your own essential oil. It'll mix right in. It'll blend right in, and then you have your own customized balm scent that you could use. You could use for a daily scent. You could use it for a massage, or just all the uses that I've said. I always try to not keep scents around my eyes. I don't think that's a good idea, but anywhere else you could customize it with your own scent and make it whatever you want. So if you're like, Dr. Bronner's, why don't you come out with a vanilla balm? Just got that one yesterday. Okay, we don't have that. We don't, but you could go get yourself some vanilla essential oil and make your own vanilla balm, or any sort of blend that you like. So that's the unscented. So moving over, and if you're just joining us, we're talking about these 2 products that I think are underloved in the Dr. Bronner's conversation out there, and maybe a little harder to find if your store doesn't carry them. The Dr. Bronner's web store does carry them, and you can get them shipped right to you. These are the organic magic balms. I never travel without these. I travel a good bit, and these I always take with me because something comes up, and if one of them can't solve it, the other one can, whether it's on me, on my kids. I use these all the time. Okay, so I just went over all the uses for the unscented, all the ones that I've thought of. Maybe you know another use. I just thought of another use. It's not even on this, but I realized I did this not that long ago. My shoes. I have sandals. I love them. They're so comfortable, but the leather on them was looking pretty dry. They just had lost their vibrancy. And I mean, it was to the point that I was like, okay, if this doesn't work, I'm okay, because I've had these shoes for a couple of years. But I rubbed in a whole bunch of balm, and it kept drinking it in, like a lot of balm, and let them dry. And then I buffed it with a soft cloth, and they looked great. I want to be careful saying this because it could be some high-end leather that wouldn't be good, or if your leather was dyed certain colors, maybe that wouldn't work. So test it before you do this, but it worked really well to restore the vibrancy of my sandals. They're brown, they're my basic sandals, but I wear them like every day. So that was a great use for that. Again, test before you use on leather just to make sure it works on what you've got. Okay, so let me talk about the Arnica Menthol. This one I love because it so often ends up being my go-to when I'm like, oh, something's a little bit off, you know, what can I use? This is it. So as I said, my brother developed it as a sore, post-surfing soreness balm, to ease any soreness, also to I've never surfed. I know, I grew up in Southern California. I do know how to boogie board, but I understand you might get some scrapes, maybe the board, maybe the sand, I'm not sure, maybe the Velcro around your ankle, whatever. This can help with that. Oh, actually no, I take that back, because you would want to use the unscented, because if your skin was sore, the Arnica Menthol might be a little bit too much. But sore muscles, definitely. Great on tired feet. I remember talking to a friend who was on our team and was on her feet all day, and she also happened to be pregnant, and she said this was just the best go-to for tired feet at the end of the day. Put on a good layer of this, give them a rub, find someone to do that for you, and then put on a good thick pair of socks and sleep, and you will just feel like a new person the next day. It's also just great as a massage balm. I mean, I talked about customizing this one to be a massage balm, but this one's like ready to go and feels fantastic as a massage balm. So, you know, bring this to your next massage. Not only great just on the skin, but then the scent filling the air is just really invigorating. For whenever I am stuffy, this is a really nice way to open everything up. It just makes me, you know, lightens everything. So because I've used it so much for that, I actually associate this with bedtime. But there's nothing in it that makes it that way. It's just, it just makes me feel very relaxed. So that's a good thing here. And then also just like, if you're on the East Coast right now, it's 2:30 in the afternoon and maybe you're feeling a little draggy, this will just perk you up, like better than a cup of coffee. Just to keep it by your desk, even if you don't apply it, even if you just smell it, even if you just open it and set it on your desk, everybody will be like, wow, okay. Maybe not everybody will love it. I can't make that claim, but I think it will be a good thing as a pick-me-up. So, and then the best thing about this container is it's really durable. As I said, great for traveling. It twists on so it's pretty secure. And then once you have used this up, which will take you a while to do because a little bit goes a long way with these, this container is fantastic for reuse. So I have used it for carrying small things when you're traveling, jewelry, vitamins, or soap, even as cut off a piece of bar soap, put it in here, and you have a little travel soap dish. By itself, it also makes a nice little jewelry gift box for a small gift for a friend. And before you put food in here, well, you might really need to wash out the Arnica Menthol, but this one wouldn't have any scent left in it either. And so these are super useful and easy to repurpose containers. So this has been so I've been talking here about the two Dr. Bronner's organic magic balms, the Arnica Menthol and the unscented. If you missed any of this, definitely head over to my article and print out your cheat sheet that talks about all the ideas. But I'm going to scroll through the comments here and see if there have been other ideas shared. Great to see that some people have been using these already. Wow, up in Alaska, that's awesome. I'm so glad that, Ryan, that you found it up there. I was up in Alaska a couple summers ago, and I was really impressed with the availability of Dr. Bronner's up in the frontier. So that was really cool. Bridget, great to hear from you. So glad that the cheat sheets have been such a help. And Diane, awesome. Yes, cuticles, lips, really. I've noticed that my daughter actually more often carries the balm tin with her rather than the lip balm. I need to ask her why she does that. It could be because she loses her lip balms because they kind of slip through the cracks, and this is a little easier to hang on to. But I've noticed that she carries this around and uses it for lips and everything else. More so, and I suppose in a high schooler's backpack, it probably stands up a little bit better than the lip balm. So speaking of the lip balms, like if you look at the ingredients between the unscented lip balm and the organic magic balm, both of them organic, they actually are very, very similar. It's just a different thickness. The lip balms are a little bit thicker than the magic balms, but very mixable. In fact, sometimes I go the other way and I use our lip balms if I'm out and about and I don't have this and I notice that my hand is, you know, really dry, starting to crack. I might put lip balm on that. But both of them work. So in case you're like, what's the difference? It's just a ratio difference. Both of them excellent products. All right, if you either think of a question later or you're watching this later and you didn't have a chance to catch me live, go ahead and you think of a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll monitor it for, well, forever, and be able to see what it is that you have. If you have used these and you have ideas of ways that you can, other ways that I have not mentioned. Oh, Patty said that her dog had some chafing from a cast. There are so many interesting things in that sentence that I want to explore. Hopefully the dog is doing great, but some chafing from a cast and the unscented balm was useful in that. So that's fantastic. As I said, because the ingredients are so you know, simple and plant-based and really, you know, edible in their original state. I mean, there's nothing about the combination that makes them unedible. This is not meant to be a food product, but it's okay if the dog licks it. It's okay, you know, obviously if you put it on your mouth, you're going to lick it. So that's a great use for this. All right. Oh, thank you, Yolanda. I'm so glad you enjoyed the Dr. Bronner's products. I do too. So I am going to be traveling a good bit this summer. I've got some nice trips planned with my husband and with my daughter. And so I will be taking both of these because you never know what sort of issue is going to come up. And I just don't leave for any trip without these two products. For my hair, for my skin, for who knows what else. I guess maybe my shoes. So thanks so much for joining me today. Go over to the website and get your cheat sheet, your usage cheat sheet for the magic balms. And then you also can head over to the Dr. Bronner's web store and buy it if you haven't. One last story that I thought was so funny about the Arnica balm in particular. So a couple of years now, we've gone to a convention of moms. It's called MomCon, fantastic convention, and it's like 5,000 moms who have gotten away from their kids for the weekend, and it can be a little wild and crazy. Very fun, and because our products are so great for families, we've set up a booth. And we brought the Arnica balm, actually we brought both of them because people don't know about them, and I think they're so great, and I think everybody needs to know about them. And so we brought them, but we only brought them to show and to sample. We just didn't bring them to sell because they're not usually. And so we were sampling them, and people, you know, kept asking, can I buy it? Can I buy it? Can I buy it? No, I'm sorry, we're not selling. And so eventually we just had this crowd around the booth sampling this, and like we had individual testers so that people weren't like sticking their fingers in and reusing, but they would scoop out a bunch and like literally plop down, take their shoes off and be rubbing their feet. There would be pregnant mamas coming up with their bellies and getting the unscented for itchy bellies. And it was just so funny that we had this little crowd of impromptu, like a spa treatment happening right there with these two products. If you happen to know somebody who is expecting, I do recommend these just because they seem to be the thing that's needed for a lot of the crazy situations that come up when you're in that time. So thanks so much for joining me. I do appreciate your tuning into my live here. Again, if you have any questions or you think of any other uses, please share them in the chat. We are all learning. And I hope that you follow my page here so that you know when I'm going live again to talk about another product or another way I take care of myself or my house or my pets or my kids with low tox green methods. You can also, if you want to dive deeper, go over to my website, which is lisabronner.com, Going Green with Lisa Bronner. I'm not a light blogger. Like I've never learned to type lightly or to write lightly. I like to go deep. So my most recent article, The History of Castile Soap, you think I would have known that, but even I had a lot to learn. So dive into the history there, or how does soap work? How I want to change my hair care routine to be greener. Go over and read how I do that, why. I like talking about why. So you can also subscribe to my newsletter there so that you know when I've written a new article. All right, so, Julie, you were sharing about the Cherry Blossom Lip Balm. Yeah, we just had our special release, our limited time release in the spring of our Cherry Blossom, which comes in a lip balm as well as the soaps. If you did not get to sample that or get your chance to buy that, you need to sign up for the newsletter so that you know when it comes out again, because we do have limited releases of scents throughout the year of ones we don't sell all the time. And I'll tell you, there's another one coming out in June, not Cherry Blossom, but if you want to know what it is, you need to follow my website or follow the Facebook page or subscribe to my newsletter and you will find out. Super duper duper. All right, Julie, you were asking a question. Let's see, I got cut off here. Which one would I recommend for deodorant, natural forms of deodorant? Oh, okay, this is a great one. Thank you, Julie. Again, I didn't put this on here. I forgot. I do things and then I forget to write them down. So when I shave, this is actually what I use as a follow-up, both underarms and legs. I can't put on any sort of actual deodorant after I shave because that just is painful. And so I use this, and honestly, like, I don't really notice a difference between when I've used a regular, official deodorant product and this. And then it also, of course, helps my skin to heal. So I would not recommend the Arnica Menthol. I think that the menthol crystals and all those mints would be a little bit strong for post-shaving or even for underarms. But the unscented is super, super soothing. And I think one of the reasons that it works for me, okay, I've not tested this, but my guess is that a lot of what our body secretes, pushes out through our skin, they're oils. And the idea in chemistry of like dissolves like. So if you have an oil-based product, which is this, it's going to dissolve the oils that your body is putting out. So now, if I had to guess, I don't think I am like the most sweaty person, the things that I talk about here, but I don't think that, I am maybe your best test person for like, would this work in an intense deodorant needing situation? But it works for me on my daily basis of the life that I lead. So, Julie, if you want to give this a try, and other people, I know there's lots of recommendations for natural deodorant options, so you're welcome to pop in and make some suggestions to Julie as well. All right. Thank you so much. And I even if I answered your question out loud, I'm probably going to put my answer in the chat just for people who read and don't watch videos. But thanks so much for joining, and I will see you the next time we go green.